just to say that, yeah, we're going to do a sun salutation to begin with. I'm going to bring in a movement which I haven't done for years, which I learned off Sarah Powers about 20 years ago, which is a kind of like yogic press up. So just to be aware that I wanted to stimulate the upper body. If you're not in silence, do switch yourselves into silence. Great. Okay. So you want to come to your mat. Okay. Come to the front end of your mat. I spent like half an hour trying to get the camera as far back as possible so I fit in the screen. I've really done my best there. This room has got its limitations. I really like this room, but it's got its limitations. So we'll come into Tadasana. So we're going to do a flow practice. So what I wanted to do was start with sun salutation, just to give you an idea where we're going. Then we're going to pick up the wide leg poses that we did a couple of weeks back. And then I'm going to bring in warrior pose. And then we're going to come down onto the floor and do a floor-based back strengthening sequence, okay? So if you want, you can bring your feet together and bring your arms down by your side. Come into Tadasana, just to sort of formally mark the beginning of the session. Connecting with the whole body, from the soles of the feet to the crown, gently extending your arms down by your legs. And just spending a moment or two, you can close your eyes just to tune in with how you are, a sense of your mood, sense of your energy state, whether you're high or low, if you're feeling like you've got energy or a lack of energy, just being aware of that, physical and mental. And also having a sense of the quality of presence, whether you're feeling more, as it were, together, more centered, or more dispersed. Okay. You get an overall sense of your body and your mind. It's going to connect in with the breath. Do feel free to work with the diaphragmatic breath if you want to work more consciously with that. Taking 5 breaths in Tadasana. Just going to let Rebecca in. Connecting with your breathing. Hi, Rebecca. I'm just going to put you into silence. Okay, and then with your next exhale, I want you to open the eyes, and on an inhale, reach your arms up. So I'm going to go up the center line, take the arms back a little bit. Exhale, fold forwards over your legs, into your legs. Inhale, stepping back into dog pose. Grounding the palms. Remembering here the heels slightly lifted, head in line with the upper arms. Inhale, coming into all fours. Exhale, drop back into child's pose, long arms. Inhale, so I want you to swing forward, so you come up onto your knees. So this is not completely clear, so I'm making like a plank shape, knees, hips, and shoulders. You can even cross the shins, okay, to keep the legs fixed. So careful with the knees. As you exhale, you lower yourself to the floor, not all the way down. Inhale, come up. We'll do 3 or 4. Exhale, down. Inhale up. So it's like a press up, basically. Exhale, down. Inhale up. Exhale, down to the floor, grounding the tops of the feet, and coming into a gentle Bhujangasana. So a gentle back bend, extending down through the tops of the legs. Exhale, release to the floor. Inhale, all fours. Exhale, dog pose. We'll do this sequence a few times. On an inhale, walk both feet forward. either together or separate. Exhale, folding into your legs. Inhale, bending the knees, palms together. Exhale, back into Tadasana. So it's one cycle. I'll just talk that through again. Inhale, the arms up. Exhale, releasing forwards into your legs. Inhale, step back into dog pose. Separating the feet, ears in line with the upper arms, heels lightly lifted. Inhale into all four. Exhale, drop back, child's pose, long arms. And then we do this movement into like a plank on the knees. You can cross the shins. The idea is to line up shoulders, hips, and knees. As you exhale, you come down. Keep the elbows close to your body, touching the floor. Inhale, back up. Exhale, second time. Inhale, back up. Exhale, third time. Inhale, back up. Exhale, release to the floor, lining up your arms or your hands slightly forward of the elbows as you lift into a lower back bend. Bhujangasana. Pressing the tops of the feet towards the floor, lengthening the legs. So this is kind of upper body orientated sun salutation. Exhale, release to the floor. Inhale, all fours. Exhale, dog pose. Inhale, walking forwards. Exhale, folding into your legs. Inhale, palms together, bending the knees. Exhale, back into Tadasana. Take a pause there. Inhale, taking your arms up. Sweeping back. Exhale, folding into your legs. Inhale, step back, dog pose. Taking a pause there in dog pose. Few breaths. Lengthening from the palms through the sides of the body to the sitting bones. Head in line with the upper arms. Inhale into all fours. Exhale back. Child's pose with the arms gently active and long. As you inhale, come up into this plank position, but you're on your knees. I'm crossing the shins just to give a little bit more sense of fixing the legs. And then as I exhale, I lower to the floor. Inhale up 3 times. Exhale to the floor. Inhale, you can touch down to the floor. Exhale, release to the floor. Extend your legs out, lifting from the pubic bone through to, as it were, the gaze. You're lengthening the front of the body, Bhujangasana. Elbows tucked in, tops of the feet on the floor. Release to the floor, all fours, into dog pose. Breathing now. Lengthening through the sides of the body. Having gently warmed up the joints here. We're going to do one more round. Walking through your feet. Exhale into your legs. Inhale, bending the knees, palms together. And back to Tadasana. Just a pause here. Reconnecting with Tadasana. Growing your spine. Sense of grounded through the feet. One more round. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, forward into your legs. Inhale, dog pose. Just a few breaths here. So just checking. I'm just going to keep an eye, see what happens as we come through. Inhale, come into all fours. Exhale, hips back. And then inhale, sweeping forward into this kind of plank on the knees. You can cross the shins. And then we lower ourselves down and up 3 times. That's it. Yeah, it's getting across. It's a little bit strong for the upper body and the breathing even. And then release to the floor, extend your legs along the floor and gently lift, especially through the upper back. So you lift the gaze forwards, elbows in, shoulder blades down the back, just engaging the paravertebrals. So we're going to come back to this later on. Exhale, release to the floor. Inhale, all fours, exhale. Dog pose. So I'd like us to stay in dog pose. So I'd like us to weave in, it's like an abbreviated version of what we did last time with me, a couple of weeks back now. So stepping your left foot forwards between your hands, or towards your hands, and then swing round to your right. Okay, so you're coming into wide legs, feet parallel now. And then we're going to release towards the legs, Prasarita Padottanasana. Keeping the head low, legs extending towards straight legs. Connecting with the breath, feet parallel, releasing the upper body. On an inhale, hands underneath the shoulders, and you're going to swing to your left, back to dog pose. Breathing there. Inhale, come into all fours. Exhale, child's pose with the arms long. And then on inhale, you sweep forwards and just drop onto the front of the body. Extend the legs, Bhujangasana. Lifting through the upper body. Exhale, release. Inhale, all fours. Back into dog pose. So I want us to step now the right foot forwards and turn to the center line. So the feet parallel. This time we're going to float all the way up. So do bend the knees. Bring your hands onto your hips. Legs wide, feet parallel. And then on exhale, we're going to swing forwards from the pelvis. Keep the hands on the hips. And release the head down. So it's wide leg, but with both arms, as it were, on the waist area, the hip area. Engaging your legs. It's a bit more demanding. It's too strong on the legs or the back. You could ask your students to take the hands to the floor. Inhale, releasing the fingertips to the floor. Lifting the gaze so the upper body's parallel to the floor. And then we're going to turn to your right, back to dog pose. Take a pause there. And then going through this very gentle vinyasa. So knees to the floor. Hips going back towards the feet. Inhale, swinging forwards and down to the floor. Gently lifting through the upper body, Bhujangasana. So we're not even doing 8-point pose there, we're just coming down onto the belly. Lifting through the upper body, elbows tucked in, releasing to the floor. Exhale. Inhale all fours, exhale dog pose. So we come back to the other side. So I want you to step your left foot forwards, turn again to your right. Floating up to the vertical. This time the arms come out in front of you. And then we're going to swing the arms around the back of the body and interlace the fingers around the back of the body, pressing the backs of the hands away from you. So we'll exaggerate the opening across the collarbones. This is again a bit more intense. So if it's too strong, you just take your hands to the floor. Bend your knees slightly. And then you're going to tip forwards over the pelvis into Prasarita Padottanasana. Prasarita Padottanasana, but with the hands bound. Okay. Extending through the arms. I like to wing out the wrists So I'm not pressing the palms together. You can do it with the palms pressing together. It changes the work in the shoulders. To keep a bit more breadth across the shoulders, I like to wing the wrists out. Okay, on an exhale, I let the hands drop to the floor. Inhale, bringing the upper body parallel to the floor. Turning to my left, taking the feet back into dog pose. Breathing now. This very simple vinyasa, knees to the floor. Inhale. Exhale, the hips go back. Inhale. All we do is come forwards and onto our belly, let the belly drop, chest drop. Inhale, float up the upper body, lengthening from pubic bone through to the gaze. Legs gently active, tops of the feet towards the floor. And on the floor, elbows in. Exhale, release. Inhale, all fours. Exhale, dog pose. Last version of Prasalita Bodhiyoga. So the right foot goes forwards. I'm turning to my left. And then I'm going to float up again to the vertical. This time winging the arms out. Wide. Making this basic triangle shape, extending through the arms. This last version is, the intention is to take hold of the big toes. As you exhale, tipping over the pelvis, you can bend the knees slightly. Take hold of the big toe with your first two fingers and thumb. That's possible. Otherwise, you can just take the hands near to the feet. And then taking your elbows wide, fold towards the legs. Again, the upper body softening, the legs engaging, winging the elbows out now. This is like the fourth version of Prasalita Bodhiyoga that we've looked at. Breathing here, upper body quiet. So this pose, what I find is it's sort of gently quietening, as though it's working the legs. So we have to prepare the legs for the second part of the sequence. On an inhale, we bring the fingertips once again underneath the shoulders. The upper body parallel to the floor. Swing to your right, back into dog pose. Taking a pause there in dog pose, so extending through the arms, lengthening through the sides of the body. Feeling the space that you start to generate now in your spine, your upper body, and the shoulders and the hips. Inhale, all fours. Exhale, drop back, child's pose, long arms. Inhale, coming into all fours and then drop to the floor. Very gentle back bend, Bhujangasana. Lifting through the upper body. Breathing now. Gaze forwards. Feeling the back muscles engaging. Gently pressing the tops of the feet towards the floor. Exhale, release down. Inhale into all fours, back into dog pose. So now we're going to bring the left foot forwards, okay? And then ground the back foot, preparing for warrior pose. So I'm resting my chest towards the left thigh. On an inhale, I'm going to float the upper body up, hands to hips. Okay, this is a way that I quite like to come into this pose. We can then adjust the distance between the feet. So if you've got more flexibility, you can create a little bit more distance between the feet to a longer base. Taking the gaze forwards and opening the upper body, lengthening the size of the waist. The arms can come into the cactus position, or in my case, it's going to be better to take the arms up. Okay, so I'm extending the arms up, gaze up, You can even cross the thumbs if you're taking the arms up, gently pulling up through your length, engaging the back leg towards straight, breathing there. So something of a back bend, okay? So we're aware that this can be quite challenging for some people's lower backs. If that's the case, you don't go for such a deep lunge, and you could encourage your students to lift the front edge of the pelvis, or tuck the tailbone as sometimes described. It's retroverting the pelvis. Sense of the lower back long. As we exhale, we release forwards, palms down, back into dog pose. Both sides of the body long. We're going to step the right foot forward towards the hands, grounding the left foot, floating the upper body up towards the vertical, hands onto the hips to begin with, adjusting the length of the base of the pose. You could go for a longer base or a shorter base depending on where you're at. So more secure to your beginning students, go for a shorter base. Pelvis is facing the short edge of the mat. I'm then going to deepen the lunge as much as my body allows. Taking the arms into the cactus position or up towards the vertical. The gaze can be going up. The sense of pulling up, if you're taking your arms up through the pose. If you've got your arms in the cactus position, there's a sense of broadening. It's a sort of slightly gentler version, quieter for the upper body, broadening the upper body. So picking the version that suits you or that you want to go for. Just with this wall here, I'm going to take the arms up. I'm reaching up. Pelvis orientated towards the short edge of the mat. And on an exhale, I'm going to look down, release down. Palms grounded. Dog pose. Inhale, last time through this gentle vinyasa, knees to the floor. Exhale, hips go back. Inhale, all fours. Exhale, drop to the floor. Simple drop. Exhale, inhale, coming into Bhujangasana. Gaze lifting forwards. Long through the front of the legs. Tops of the feet grounded, elbows in. Exhale, release to the floor. Inhale, all fours. Exhale into dog pose. So we're going to come into one more version of warrior. It's like the warrior 3. So I want you to just step your left foot forwards, behind the line of the hands, and then bring your back foot in about half the distance. Walk your hands forwards, and then you're going to float your back leg up, keeping the pelvis more or less level. Length through the front of the body, the fingertips resting on the floor. This is going to engage the pelvic area more strongly, particularly the standing leg. So if you know you've got the strength there, you can bring your arms parallel to the body, taking the hands back to the hips. Or if you're more practiced, you might want to take your hands forwards, which is a much more intense version. Taking as long as you like there. Easiest version is fingertips to the floor, back leg strong. Exhale, we're going to drop the right leg, step back, dog pose. Inhale, come into all fours, and just take a pause into child's pose. So coming into stillness for a moment, resting the head down, the arms also relaxing, reconnecting with your breath. So it's like the penultimate standing pose. So we'll try that on the other side. Inhale, or fours. Exhale, dog pose. Inhale, right foot goes forwards, left foot you bring in, walking your hands forward to the pelvis, still facing the short edge of your mat, floating the back leg up, coming up onto the fingertips, lifting the upper body. Left leg parallel to the floor. You could bring your arms up and lift a little bit higher, the upper body. Definitely easier taking the hands back rather than forwards. Strong standing leg. Breathing there, projecting through the left leg. When you're ready, fingertips to the floor. Pausing now, poising now. Exhale, down the left leg, back into dog pose. So again, we're generating a bit of heat here in the body. Demanding pose, warrior 3, or sort of an adaptation. Inhale, come into all fours. Exhale, resting again completely down into child's pose, coming into stillness. Taking a few moments just to connect in with the breath, with the whole body. Coming into a sense of stillness and rest. I'm going to do one more thing on the feet. On an inhale, coming into all fours. Exhale, dog pose. I like to walk your feet forwards and bring the inner edges of the feet together. And then we're going to bend the knees, float up, palms together. Come back into Tadasana. So let's see how this works. I'm just going to move slightly to my right. So I've got spaces. So I want us to drop into Utkatasana with the legs. So you bend the knees are together, gently pressing the inner legs in, and then extend your arms towards the vertical. Okay, taking the gaze forwards, and then we're going to do a movement here. So as you inhale, you open into cactus, looking up, bending a little bit deeper into the pose. Exhale, look forwards, extend your arms to the vertical. Inhale, coming into cactus, opening the chest, gaze up. Exhale, arms extend, looking forwards. One more time, inhale, opening up, chest, cactus. Exhale, arms extend. Inhale, float up towards Tadasana, and just have a pause there. So it's really intense leg work and intense upper body work, actually. So I'd just like to try that one more time, just to see how that was going down. So I want you to, on an inhale, come into, bend your knees, coming into the Utkatasana. And then extend your arms up, and then exhale, inhale, take your arms into cactus, look up. And on an exhale, extend your arms, looking forwards. Just kind of upper body work. Inhale, cactus, looking up, opening the upper back. Exhale, straightening the arms, looking forwards. One more time. That's it, we got it. Inhale, looking up. This time, exhale, fold forwards over your legs. Inhale, walk back. Dog pose. Exhale, dropping to the knees. Inhale, thread the arms through your legs and coming into a resting child's pose. So we did there like a variation on Utkatasana. It's strong for the legs, but as I said, I wanted to warm the body up, create some heat. And we're going to focus in on the spine now. We're coming to a complete stillness for a few breaths, feeling the whole body, feeling the space around you. Still carries on being a bit cool, the space I'm in. Okay, so from here, inhale, come up and out. So I'd like us to do a couple of passive back bends to begin with. If you've got handy a cork brick, that would be best. If you haven't got a cork brick, then you could try a pile of 4 bricks, foam bricks. And we're going to lie onto our back. And I want us to lift and place the cork brick underneath the sacrum, or the 4 bricks under the sacrum. Okay, and then extend through the arms, the backs of the hands away from you, just as we did in Prasarita Padottanasana a few moments ago. So you're extending through the upper, or you're opening the upper chest. So ideally you've got a cork brick, so that means you can take your arms around the outside, interlace the fingers, and here the knees are separated, okay? Just hip width, neck is long. So it works fine also with a pile of foam bricks, maybe a bit gentler on the sacral area. Extending through the arms, projecting. It's like I'm winging out the wrists, projecting the backs of the hands away from the head towards the feet. So it's passive, but it's slightly active as well. The arms are active. I'm lifting, opening the chest area. Connecting with the breath. So we're gently opening the anterior face of the spine. We're going to focus in on that in the next few poses, which we've already started doing with Bhujangasana, with the cobra in the sun salutation, a bit with the warrior pose as well. The sense of lifting the sternum, broadening across the rib cage, allowing your body to find space there, even though the arms are gently active. I'm keeping my knees in line with the feet, more or less. Breathing. Okay, from there, I'm going to lift the pelvis and discard the brick or the bricks. Yeah, it would be, I should have warned you at the beginning, if you've got a bolster handy, I should have said that before. Bring the bolster in. So we've done this before, so it's like in fact, you can do it without the bolster, but it's like a supported Sphinx pose. So I'm bringing my elbows up onto the bolster and I'm taking the gaze forwards. The feet are still hip width apart. And again, there's a sense of gently lifting the sternum, or lifting, it's more like lifting the chest. Sternum moves forwards and up. You can even take the gaze slightly up. It can be done with the forearms on the floor if you haven't got bolsters, or you could put bricks there, foam bricks, or a rolled blanket. So again, lifting the chest area. It's of lengthening, opening the anterior face of the spine. sense of, yeah, the extension, passive extension of the spine. So we're going to come into some more gentle, active extensions in a moment. I just wanted to prepare us with these two passive stretches or passive postures. So the sense of where your pubic bone is and rooted, the pubic bone. So we'll look at that in a moment. And then lengthening from the pubic bone through the front of the body, through to the throat, taking the gaze up. So I'm not collapsing down into the pose. Okay, from here on an exhale, slowly releasing down, and push the bolster out the way. And I'd like us to bring the forehead down, still the feet separate, but lifting one leg and extending, lifting the other leg, extending. You're really bringing the front of the pelvis towards the floor, the pubic bone towards the floor, the hands close into my body. So we're going to do a 4-part leg work. So I'll talk it through and we'll do it together. So as you inhale, I want you to lift the left leg straight. Exhale, fold the leg in, keeping it lifted. Inhale, extending it out. Exhale, dropping it down. Okay, so we'll do that. We've done this before. It's like a 4-part leg work. Inhale, lift the right leg. Exhale, fold the leg, keeping that knee lifted. Inhale, extend. Exhale, float the leg down. So we're alternating between the two sides. Inhale, floating the leg straight up. Exhale, fold. So it works more intensely the thigh. Inhale, extend again. Exhale, down. Try and keep the pubic bone down, front of the pelvis down, and repeat on the right side with your own breath. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, folding. Inhale, straightening. Exhale, down. So one other dimension to this is the other leg, the leg that's on the floor. You can gently ground actively. So one leg is pressing down towards the floor to help lift the other leg or support the other leg. Okay, we'll do one more time on each side. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, extend. Exhale, down. Coming to the other side. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, extend. Exhale, down. And just take a pause there, resting, breathing. Okay, so this is an interesting movement. So I want you to bring your inner legs together, toes, your inner feet together, and then fold the legs. So, or bend the legs so then the shins are more or less towards the vertical. It's surprisingly intense, and we're not going to do very much, okay? So your shins are perpendicular to the floor. The idea is to press the pubic bone and lift the knees off the floor. That's it. Press the pubic bone down, and lift the knees. You might not get very much movement. And then exhale, release. Or inhale, release. So we could do that a few times. So as you exhale, pressing the pubic bone down, lifting the knees, both knees, and release. One more time, pressing the pubic bone down, pelvis down, lifting the knees. So it kind of squeezes in around, or gathers in around the sacrum, and then release. Release the legs down. Let's just take child's pose for a moment. We'll have another go at that. So it's quite a small movement. So releasing into child's pose for a moment, resting in a gentle flexion of the spine. So it's kind of very focused around the lower back and the sacral area. So coming down onto your belly again, I'm just going to describe it and just see what's happening to make sure the message is getting across. So looking down or resting the forehead on the floor, the hands can be by the chest if you wish, elbows in. I want you to bend your knees so the shins are perpendicular to the floor, and then gently with the breath, pressing the pubic bone down and lifting just the knees, just for a few moments. So very strongly works the inner legs, and then release. Yeah, we've got that. Okay, and two more times at your own rhythm. So inner knees together, pressing pubic bone down, lifting the thighs or lifting the knees, and release. And last time, third time, on your own breath, rooting as a grounding, the pubic bone, lifting the thighs, and release. And once again, dropping back into child's pose for a moment, coming into Balasana, resting there. So this should feel quite quiet, restful. So if it's not, then you could just sit back on your feet for a moment. As I've suggested in the past, you're in an upright position. Okay, so we're going to move back again onto the belly. And I want us to have a go at the scorpion pose. So here we can separate the feet a little bit. And we're going to extend the arms down by the side, palms down. Again, the forehead is resting on the floor. So the first version is, they've both got their kind of challenges and limitations. So the first version, what I find is, without the use of the hands, you're not going to get much lift in the leg, but we're going to take one leg up straight so the forehead stays down, and you just lift and hold for a few breaths, or probably 3 or 4 breaths. Lift one leg, the opposite leg can stay down. So again, it's focusing on the lower section of the spine. When you're ready, rest down. Take a pause, and then try on the other side. So I'm going to lift my right leg, left leg gently grounded. Forehead stays down, or you can rest the chin down if you prefer. Lifting the legs straight and up. The pelvis more or less level. Yeah, the pubic bone will lift. The pelvis will lift, slightly lopsided, inevitable. And then rest down. And then the second version is we place the hands now, palms up underneath the thighs, okay? So I've got my palm open underneath the thigh. Front thigh. Again, you can rest the forehead down or the chin. And once again, we're going to lift the left leg, but this time you can, with the help of the guidance of your left hand, you can gently lift the thigh higher. That makes sense. I'm using the fingers just to create a sense of resistance between the very upper section of the thigh and the leg and the hand. Let's get a little bit more height there. Breathing. So the hands are supporting function. And release down. Take a pause. Gentle with your neck, so either your forehead down or the chin down. Coming to the right side. So the left leg grounded, right leg lifting. I'm going to use, to some extent, my right hand as a support. Gently guiding the right leg up So it's working very strongly around the lower back, the buttock area, effectively shortening the backs of the legs to get the lift. And then from there, releasing down. On an inhale, coming into all fours. Exhale, rest into child's pose. Or sit back onto your feet for a moment. Taking a pause there, closing the eyes. Recentering around your breath. Completely surrendering to the floor. Connecting in with the whole body. From there now on an inhale, forward. Exhale, lowering yourself down to the floor, separating the knees slightly. We're going to have a go at the Dhanurasana, the bow pose. So I want you to lift and lengthen each of the legs. A sense of bringing the front of the pelvis closer to the floor, pubic bone down. And then bending up both legs, reaching back for the feet or the ankles or the shins. So here it can be helpful to just remember that movement of pushing the pubic bone down and lifting the thighs. Okay, the shins move back, away from you. The gaze can go forwards, lifting into Dhanurasana, pushing the shins away, lifting the thighs, pubic bone down. Breathing now, feeling the opening across the chest. Few breaths. When you're ready, releasing. We'll do that a couple of times. So take a complete rest between versions or between poses. Reconnecting with the whole body. Being aware of the effect of these strong but gentle, at the same time gentle back bends. Okay, so we're going to try again. So lengthening each leg out. Bending up both legs together, reaching back. And in your own time, gently grounding the pubic bone, lifting the thighs. Shins moving away from you. Gaze forwards. Relaxing the shoulders, releasing the shoulders. Breathing now. See if you can gently draw the inner legs together as well, just to intensify that work. Feel the intensity of the pose. And releasing down in your own time. Resting back to the floor. Again, being aware of the impact of that pose in your body. We're going to just do one more time, third time. So you can play with the variables here of thighs lifting, inner thighs moving towards each other. So when you're ready, extending one leg, lengthening out the other leg, bringing the pubic bone closer to the floor, bending up both legs. In your own time, lifting into the pose. And just see if we can rest within the pose for a few breaths. Exploring The inner legs moving towards each other. And then from there, when you're ready, releasing down. Okay, from there, I'd like you to come into all fours. Get hold again of your bolster. So placing that across your mat. So we're going to come into a couple of more passive poses again. And if you can, some support for the back of the head. Okay, so this is a sort of classic passive back bend. So we're going to rest onto the back of the body, the chest lifted, the bolster going across the lower section of the shoulder blades, soles of the feet coming towards each other. And if you can, extending your arms out just above the line of the bolster. Breathing here, allowing your body to rest into Supta Baddha Konasana. Depending on the space in your upper body and your neck, you'll have more or less support behind the head. So you can either have the arms extended to your sides or just working with the space I'm in here, interlacing the hands around the back of the head, winging the elbows out. So really allow the body to hang into this space. So working the inner legs, extending passively through the upper body. Really softening around the shoulders, around the neck, and the upper back, allowing it to open. So again, we're still working with opening the anterior face of the spine, as we do in back bends or extensions of the spine. Connecting with the breath. And completely softening. So the next couple of poses are going to be really passive poses, a sense of letting go, no resistance. There's a falling into the space, falling into gravity. Sense of softening the face, the eyes, jaw, around the eyes. Okay, so from here, I'm not being quick to move, but I want you to bring the soles of the feet onto the floor. Releasing your arms if they're behind the head, and we're going to gently slide down towards the feet. So that you don't need to lift the head very high. Pushing the bolster out to one side for a moment, coming into semi-supine. And from semi-supine, I'm going to roll to one side, okay? And get hold of your bolster again. So yeah, I did want you to bolster here for these last pose. I want us to put it now along the mat. And we're going to sit, as it were, sideways. So I've got my legs coming out to one side, and then I'm turning towards the bolster. So it's like a prone twist. Okay, so we're going to turn towards the bolster. Trying to bring the, as it were, the center of the chest onto the bolster. And you can turn away from the legs. So the head can turn to, well, I've got my legs to the left, the head turns to the right. And again, winging the elbows out wide. So I'm broad across the chest area, broad across the shoulder blades. This pose should feel really quite quiet on the body, quite gentle. So if it's not okay in the neck, you can turn the head to center or turn the head in the same direction as the legs. But if it's okay, turning the head away from the legs. Again, surrendering to gravity, sense of falling into gravity. Find a comfortable position for your head and your neck. Reconnecting with the breath. We can just let go of the breath now, so coming into a quiet, natural breath. Softening around the shoulders, around the face. Sense of softening the front of the body. Seeing if you can really release around the shoulders. Allow a sense of the upper body to spread sideways. And then from here, without disturbing ourselves too much, bringing the palms down. So all I'm going to do is swing the legs through all fours to the other side and drop back into the pose. So a sense of turning the belly, the chest towards the support. Winging the elbows out. Reaching into the support. As I said, you could turn the head away from the legs or turn it in the same direction, the legs, or turn it to the center, whichever works for you, but try to find a comfortable position for the head and neck. So I'm just trying here, resting the chin down with the head centered. So the legs also passive and quiet. Again, allowing the upper body to spread out, shoulders to release. Okay, and then from here again, without disturbing yourself too much, but we're going to come up into a seated position. Okay, so gently coming up, do layer up if that's appropriate. I'm going to come up into a seated position to meditate for a few moments. So do put some more layers on. I'll leave you time at the end to come into Shavasana, but in your own time. I'd just like us to bring that body work into a meditation pose. So getting whatever you need to be in the vertical. So I'd like us to really have a sense of the spine and how the spine feels after that sequence. Taking your time to choose a position, resting the legs, remembering with the meditation pose, we want that kind of foundation, sense of the lower body quiet, rooted, sitting bones and knees. And then finding a place for your hands. So close the eyes and take our attention really into the spinal column. So this is sometimes described as the central channel. So when you get a sense of aligning your spine, same time a sense of growing the spine towards the crown. So I was aiming at stimulating the spinal column with the sequence after warming up the legs and the lower body. So particularly the muscles up and down the sides of the spine, taking awareness into that area. And the first back work we did was really emphasizing the lower spine, sacrum, taking awareness into that area, the lower section of the spine, attentive to what's happening now. And then a sense of being broad across the shoulders, the upper back, across the collarbones, releasing the shoulders, releasing the arms.
So for a few moments, we're going to stay focused around the spine, the central channel, sense of alignment or the lack of alignment, if it feels still like there's areas of tension or imbalance, becoming aware of those with quality of gentleness, kindness, and with the breath. So being aware of the breath and a sense of your, as it were, your central channel, the spine, just for a few moments, with the poise and alignment, or not, as the case may be. No special breath, just the breath as it comes and goes. Looking that you're releasing tension in the body, softening around the shoulders, the arms, around the hips, the legs, softening the belly, chest area. Recentering your attention on the breath and the spinal column for a few moments. And then from here, I'd like you to expand your awareness into the room around you, the space around you, wherever you are, being aware of that space and being aware of us in this session, this live session, each one of us in our own spaces, connected through the internet. And beyond ourselves, the whole world, who can be aware of many persons, living beings, places with a lot of suffering, places where there's joy. If we can open our awareness to the whole world just for a few moments, from a sense of stillness and being centered. and in our heart, the heart wish, may all beings be well. May all beings find peace. May all beings find a way out of suffering. May all beings be free to grow and evolve without restriction. So I'd like to thank you for this session and wish you well. I'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Taking care.